Islam kala. Kala means like time, or as it said here, deadly. It can be deadly, like time is deadly, because Kali is regarded that. Then Dayalam. Dayalam is Daya means merciful here. So we'll go through each words. Aho.
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 Alas.
Alas.
Baki.
Baki.
The she demon Putana.
The she demon Putana.
Yam.
Yam.
Whom.
Whom.
Sana.
Sana.
Of her breast.
Of her breast.
Of her
Kala.
breast.
Kala.
Deadly.
Deadly.
Kutam.
Kutam. Kutam.
Poison.
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 Yigamsaya.
Gamsya.
Out of envy.
Out of envy.
Upayayat.
Upiyaya.
Nourished.
Nourished.
Api.
Api.
Although.
Although.
Asadri.
Asadri.
Unfaithful.
Unfaithful.
Debe.
Debe.
Achieved.
Achieved.
Gatim.
Gati.
Destination.
Destination.
Atriuchitam.
Atriuchitam.
Just suitable for the nurse.
Suitable for the nurse.
Tataha.
Tataha.
Beyond whom.
Beyond.
Anyam.
Anya.
Other.
Other.
Kam.
Kam.
Who else?
Who else?
Certainly.
Certainly.
Dayalam.
Dayalam.
Merciful.
Merciful.
Sharanam.
Sharanam.
Shelter.
Shelter.
Rajema.
Rajema. Shall I take?
So translation by Srila Prabhupada, the translation. Alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he who granted the position of mother to a she-demon, Putana, although she was unfaithful and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. So you can repeat after me. Alas.
Alas.
How shall I take?
How shall I take?
Shelter of one.
Shelter of one.
More merciful.
More merciful.
Than he who granted.
Than he who granted.
The position of mother.
The position of mother.
To a she-demon.
To a she-demon.
Putana.
Putana.
Although she was unfaithful.
Although she was unfaithful.
And she prepared deadly poison.
And she prepared deadly poison.
To be sucked from her breast.
To be
sucked from her breast.
Okay, so Srila Prabhupada, purport by Srila Prabhupada. So I'll read this. Here is an example of the extreme mercy of the Lord, even to his enemy. It is said that a noble man accepts the good qualities of a person of doubtful character, just as one accepts nectar from a stalk of poison. In his babyhood, he was administered deadly poison by Putana, a she-demon who tried to kill the wonderful baby. And because she was a demon, it was impossible for her to know that the Supreme Lord, even though playing the part of a baby, was no one less than the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. His value as a Supreme Lord did not diminish upon his becoming a baby to please his devotee Yashoda. The Lord may assume the form of a baby or a shape other than that of a human being. but it doesn't make the slightest difference. He is always the same supreme. A living creature, however powerful he may become by dint of severe penance, can never become equal to the Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna accepted the motherhood of Putana because she pretended to be an affectionate mother. Although Krishna, although Krishna, allowing Krishna to suck her breast, the Lord accepts the least qualification of a living entity and awards him the highest reward. This is the standard of his character. That is the standard of his character. Although who but the Lord can be the ultimate shelter. So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
So this verse is obviously in a conversation with Uddhav and um, what's the name?
Maitri?
No. This is Uddhav and
Vidur.
Vidura. Yeah, get my name. So this, obviously, Uddhav is answering to Vidura. The oh, sorry, is there echo or is it me?
We could try that now.
Yeah, okay. Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so here Uddhav is answering to Vidura and explaining that, this part of the third canto, we cover how Krishna had left and Uddhav, Vidura had inquired from Vidura inquiring from Uddhav. And he's been asked by Maitra to go and speak to Uddhav. No, Uddhav then asked Maitra, yeah. So then Uddhav is saying how he's obviously very sad that Krishna has left. He even mentions that the Yadu dynasty is also finished, and even the Yadu dynasty could not even recognize that the Supreme Lord, although Krishna was relaxing with them and doing all sorts of different activities, but even they couldn't fully understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the full extent. And Uddhav is obviously very very much in lamenting that Krishna has left, and here he's saying that how can uh, how else can I take shelter? Who else can I take shelter of? If not of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he even gave shelter to Putana. So Krishna is amazing, and here in the purport also Prabhupada is saying that this is the extreme mercy of the Supreme Lord. He's very, very merciful. He's always there, with especially with devotees. He gives them protection whenever it's necessary and whenever they're in very difficult situation. But as long as they're devotees, but if they're not devotees, then as say this is the first kind of uh, envy, because of envy, um, we try to poison somebody, and poisoning someone is not. I mean, I've seen various cases of people trying to poison the relatives and this and that, and even Prahlad Maharaj, was being poisoned by his own father. We were made to drink some poison, but he just drank it. He was being manipulated. The Prahlad Maharaj's mother was put into a predicament by Hiranyakashipu and saying, you've got to give this poison to your son. And then she said, well, if how can I do this to my own mother? I'm a pativrata. I'm so a chaste wife. I have to listen to my husband on one side and be faithful to him, and on the other hand I have to be the mother, and how can I do this? So she was in that predicament and what to do, and Prahlad wasn't afraid of anything, and to resolve the mother's dilemma, the difficulty, that Kayadu, you know, she was in that predicament. Prahlad Maharaj just accepted. He said, "What is the matter? You're very, very concerned. You're very upset." So she explained her situation, and Prahlad Maharaj said, "This poison is all right. Don't worry. You know, don't you've been ordered to give this to me, and I'll just take it." And he just drank it. And the Lord is there to protect Prahlad Maharaj, and nothing happened to him. And that is how the Lord is merciful, and he protects his dearest, most devotees. But he also resolved the difficult situation that his mother was in. So poisoning someone is basically out of envy. And Putna had obviously gone to try to please his own brother, the Kans. And Kans had asked her, can you know, to go and administer poison. And she pretended to be she obviously had mystic powers because of some demoniac siddhis, and they're all these magicry and wizardry and tricks and all that. So she had obviously changed herself into a nice looking gopi, and then pretend, oh, I'll look after your Kana, you know. She went to Mother Yashoda and said, I'll look after him, and pretended that, you know, she's going to look after him. Then she gradually took him away and tried to administer the breast milk. And Krishna knew this. Krishna is all knowing. He knew what was happening, and he obviously sucked the milk, and then he sucked all the poison out, and he practically sucked the life out of Putana. So, but in doing so, because Putana had tried to be like a mother to Krishna, Krishna doesn't actually just condemn her and send to hell or anything like that. He actually gives her that same reciprocation in the sense that, you know, she got liberation to a certain extent. So, you know, even some other powerful, as you say, Prabhupada says here, you know, the she demon tried to kill, but the position of Krishna is never diminished in whatever position he is in, whether he's a baby, whether he's a boy or a cowherd boy, he's all knowing and pervading. But we've been doing the katha the whole month, how Krishna was being tied to the mortar, and as a baby, he just at times he just wants to be in that mood of just, I don't want to be like the Supreme Lord all the time. And I'm just want to be a little baby to my dear devotee, to please my devotees. He just pretended to be a baby or a boy or young child, and then he allows the devotees to treat him like that. And in that way, you know, Krishna reciprocates like that, and takes care of his devotees. So, but his position is never diminished. He's always the Supreme Lord. We find that even now within Kali Yuga, he doesn't appear to everyone. Krishna does actually. You know, there are some pastimes of some devotees. I was listening to how Krishna was reciprocating as a little baby. One of the great devotees, there is a temple. When you go to Jagannath Puri, there's a temple of Karmabai. Karmabai is a very simple girl. She was in Rajasthan to start with, in a small village. And when she was young, all her relatives passed away. She did get married, her husband passed away. She just left on her own. And she only had a small piece of land, and she had a few bulls and a cow to look after. And she was looking after these cows and bulls, and she was such a simple lady, not educated at all, and just kept to herself. She would not mix with anyone. She didn't have much money. She was very poor. She just lived on simple things. But one day she took the cows and bulls to the river to feed, to let them drink water. And there something touched her leg in the water, and she realized, what is this? And she found a little murti or deity, and she thought, oh, this is amazing. He said, I'm on my own in my life, but somehow this has come to me, so I must serve and give me company. And because she always desired to have like a childlike kind of relationship with it. I wish I had a child now, but I'm left on my own. So then she actually takes the deity and she starts to treat it like a little child, and took it home. And she said, oh, you must be hungry because you've been in the river for a long time. Somebody's, it was obviously a little bit broken and all that, didn't have any hands or anything like that. So she thought that, somebody, this deity must have knocked against rocks and all that, and maybe disfigured, the shape had been disfigured and all that. But she didn't really realize that actually that was a Jagannath deity. But she didn't quite know. She hadn't been to Jagannath Puri. She wasn't aware. She tried to treat that like the little baby, and she took it home. She didn't have any good kind of, she wasn't in the habit of, taking a bath, and she was always with the cows and the bulls and all that. So her clothes were always dirty, with dusty and dirty and smelling of the cows and bulls and all that. So she just would, she said, oh, this deity, you must be very hungry. She just tried to treat it like a little baby. And she cooked some meals, she made some special khichdi and the rice and all that, and then offered it. She said, you must be hungry. And obviously she offered it and kept saying, you must eat, must eat. And then the deity wouldn't eat. And then she said, well, if you don't eat, I won't eat. Look how, you must be hungry for days and days. You've been floating around in the water. So then she said, okay, I'll put a curtain around, okay. So she just put her, one of her cloth, which was very dirty, not clean at all. And she just put it as a curtain and said, okay, I won't watch you eating anything. Even then, she wouldn't, deity wouldn't eat anything. And she said, okay, if you don't eat, I won't eat anything as well. So then it was 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, quite a few days went by, and she wouldn't eat anything. And then the deity, so finally, Krishna did come and eat her food just to relieve her demands. And then she started to feed, and over time, she started to build a good relationship with this deity, and she would talk to it every day and take the company, and people started to realize she's talking to somebody, and started to watch her and behavior and then realize that she's actually quite an elevated person. She's actually talking to the deities, and the deities is talking. She could see everything, but sometimes others couldn't actually make out who she's talking to. She was actually really talking to them. And she actually moves to Jagannath Puri then, and she, while she was in Jagannath Puri, she was offering khichdi, special khichdi to her deity. And then when she went to have darshan at Jagannath Puri, she realized that that's the same form, and said, oh, that's a bigger version of Jagannath. And there's this interesting story. I won't go into it very detailed, but while she was in Jagannath Puri, the Lord Jagannath would come to her house every day and eat her khichdi early in the mornings, and then quickly go back and then have the Raj Bhog that the pujaris would offer. One of the pujaris were very, very close to the Jagannath deities, and he could actually even speak to Jagannath and offer, and he had that special relationship. So Karmabai would cook her khichdi, Jagannath would come and eat that, then go to back and eat the prasad that the pujaris were offering. So like that, this went on for a while. And then one day, one acharya of some sampradaya must be coming to Jagannath Puri and heard about Karmabai. So he went to observe her. And then when she realized that Karmabai doesn't actually follow any etiquettes, like she doesn't have a bath before she cooks anything, or she had her own way of doing it in a sweet bow. So she was doing it, and then when he noticed that, oh, she doesn't do certain things in a way, she doesn't say mantras or this or that. So he started to tell her that, oh, you're not doing this properly. You're actually going to be you committing offenses. You're going to go to hell. You don't say mantras before you cook the khichdi. You don't have a bath. You don't wear clean clothes. You don't do this. You don't do that. And he started to put so many things. Conditions and terms and conditions. So she got scared. She started to get worried. He said, oh dear, I've been committing offenses. Oh dear, what am I going to do? So then from that day onwards, she started to get up early in the morning, try to have a bath and all. But Jagannath had already come early in the morning. This was, and it was getting late. And so, oh, Karmabai is not even cooking a khichdi. She's still having a bath. Now she's doing this. Now she's doing that. Now, so she was getting later and late. And it was just getting time for Jagannath to be at the Jagannath temple for the darshan, and the curtains open, and the bhog is being offered there by the pujari. So Karmabai got late in offering the khichdi, but Jagannath hurriedly ate the khichdi when he was just in time and went back. And when the pujari opened the curtains, he noticed that there's some khichdi on his face. He said, how did the khichdi came here? Where did this khichdi come from? And then he started to wonder. He said, is my bhog is not good enough? How did this khichdi? So he started to have this relationship and ask Jagannath, what happened? Why is there khichdi? He said, oh, well, okay, I'll have to tell you the truth. He said, I do appreciate your prasad. You offer me everything nice. But I do like this khichdi that Karmabai makes. It offers me every day. But today I got a bit late because she got a bit late because she had to do all these, follow the etiquettes. This Acharya had instructed her and kind of disturbed her bhav a bit. So she was concerned. So Jagannath then explained to the pujari that this Acharya had actually disturbed her bhav and her puja and the way she offered khichdi to me. So really, I'm a bit upset, but the pujari then understood what had happened and why there was khichdi on his Jagannath's face. And, he obviously had that same sort of relationship. He could talk to Jagannath. Jagannath would talk back to him as well and all that. So this was a special relationship. Then Jagannath instructed that, can you go and tell Karmabai not to bother with her etiquettes and all this. She can offer me in whatever bow she wants to. And can you also go to the Acharya and explain to him what he has done? So Jagannath then, the Pujari then, went and searched for Karmabai and told her that, Jagannath was very pleased with your offering of khichdi. He loves it the way you cook it, the way you do it. It doesn't bother, but he's a bit worried that, he got a bit late and I saw the khichdi on his face and everything. And so then he also looked for the Acharya and found that in Jagannath Puri, he was only visiting Jagannath Puri and then giving programs and all that, then prachar and all that. He went to him and explained to him that this is what you did. You actually disturbed Karmabai's way of offering and everything. And then you actually try to tell her by your sort of so-called gyan and all that you didn't understand her vow. And Jagannath was a bit upset. So can you just sort this out? So then he also went to Jagannath, asked for forgiveness. He also went to Karmabai and to ask her, and for forgiveness and all that for misleading her, trying to mislead her or anything, you know. And this happened in about 16th century or so. So this temple of Karmabai in Jagannath Puri, and also this khichdi is being offered to this day to Jagannath, you know. So this is special. So Lord actually reciprocates, and he allowed himself to be treated like a little baby or a little child, even to some simple devotee like Karmabai. So I was listening to her pastimes a bit, you know, and this we can understand that there are so many situations where the Lord takes on the position, but his position is never diminished. He is all powerful and all pervading in all situations. By good fortune in Kali Yuga, you know, we have been instructed to just chant, and Lord Chaitanya came and he established the Sankirtan movement. Srila Prabhupada has gone around the world distributing this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, initiating so many devotees, and they're wonderfully serving Srila Prabhupada. And we've got to know that Krishna can come even in the form of a sound like Krishna, his name. And that name is also as powerful and as equal, like it says here, you know, that the position is never diminished. So when Krishna in Kali Yuga is in his name form, Nama avatar, then he is as powerful or as equal on the same as Supreme Personality of Godhead. So his name is non-different from Krishna, but it's just that we don't have that faith. We don't have that full understanding to know that when I say Krishna and Krishna, but we have to develop that power. So that is a qualification that, you know, we need to develop. The Lord accepts the least qualification of a living entity, it says here in the purport, and awards him the highest. So even Putana was rewarded by being like a mother. So this is quite a nice verse, but this chapter, obviously here Uddhav is explaining to Vidura. And this is a conversation for the Srimad Bhagavatam. So as we know, the Srimad Bhagavatam is a conversation within a conversation. So if anybody has any questions or any comments, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
It's very good, Prabhu, to hear this story. It's
Nice
like,
pastime, yes.
and do you know there's any pastimes like this? Jagannath eating from some. They say I heard something like from Muslim something. There is pastime. I forgot. I don't know. Anyone? Do you remember? I think.
Yeah, there is. That's
Can you tell me?
Jagannath in Rajapur, in Mayapur. He took the fruits that are offered by the Muslims, and he accepted them.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, there were some wonderful pastimes of Jagannath. Even in Vrindavan, you know, there are so many devotees who Krishna reciprocates with them, and amazing, you know. There are a few other pastimes I can say, but for now, I mean, I just want to focus on this particular pastime, and I used the example of Karmabai because she was very elevated soul, very simple, but yet, you know, she did actually got hassled a lot in Jagannath Puri after she became quite popular, and people would visit her, and then she just wanted to leave and said, no, I can't handle this. And she was given the position, like, you know, she obviously went to Vaikunta. But the tradition of offering khichdi, this special khichdi, I think when I went to there long time ago. I haven't been at Jagannath Puri for a long time, but we were offered this khichdi as well, and I was quite amazed, but there is chapan bhog. This when you go to Jagannath Puri, Navi, how it is, it's so much prasadam is being given to you,
Yeah.
and it's one of the biggest kitchens in the whole world. But Jagannath temple is amazing, and Jagannath deities are amazing. So okay, so how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than who grants? So here Uddhav is saying, who takes shelter of someone who is that as merciful as Krishna. So no one more merciful than Krishna. So anybody else wants to say anything, comment?
I think Rianch might want to say something. Rianch?
Yeah.
He's got his hand up like good boy.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Haribol?
Yes, very nice, Prabhuji. I never heard that
Very
about
nice, Prabhuji.
about karma by getting the deity from the river and how she was treating. I never heard this pastime. Very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you for sharing. But I heard something like karma bai would not take bath and she would do the khichdi and she would have the datun, the stick that they brush the teeth with. Yes, they would say on one side she would brush her teeth, on the other side she would stir the khichdi with. I don't know if
That's
it's true.
right. That's right. That's
yes.
correct.
But
That's
very
correct.
nice story of her life. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for sharing. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
you can look it up. I haven't Googled it or anything, but I had it some time ago, so some details might not be there. But when I heard it, and obviously it is, there is a temple in Jagannath Puri, so it is, quite.
Yes, they say even nowadays on her name, khichdi is offered to Jagannath every day.
Right. Yeah. No. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
I heard one
Hare
question.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Haribol, yes.
I want to share that Krishna is very merciful, that even Putana is a demon. He gave the position as nurse in the spiritual world.
That's right.
Rohit, you had a question?
Yes, we this about karma by example. So generally, if starting devotees or neophytes like me, just they observe this passion, they feel very happy and they feel very nectar. But we should follow in her footsteps, or like sometimes we limitate like them. But taking this as grant, so how can we take it this as example? So sometimes like that happens to neophyte devotees. How can we accept, understand this story pastimes?
Yeah. There's so many devotees who, have come to sort of show we can't really imitate or copy or sort of, try and pretend that, we will do the same. We offer khichdi or we offer it, but we do it with our own power and our own heart. Some of these devotees have had lifetimes of bhakti in their to their credit, and they are in a position, they carry past lifetimes. They have done bhakti, they've studied Vedas, crafts, all that, and then this lifetime they're in a position where they've got this special relationship with Krishna. And sometimes, we can't imitate and copy, but this gives us the faith. At least we can believe that, Krishna can reciprocate with his dearmost devotees, and he can with us as well, as long as we are. I mean, amazing things can happen, you see. I mean, I can, when we don't believe in God, there's one, there's another pastime. I won't go into a lot of detail, But there was, this is a true story as well about an English engineer who went to India, and he was commissioned by the British government to actually build a dam in this river. And he built this dam, and he had obviously workers who worked for him, and they were Indian workers. But some of these workers were actually very simple people, you know, they're trying to make a living, but they're very strong, staunch devotees. And this engineer was telling how it would rain so much at that once it rained so much that it was actually causing a flood, and it would have destroyed that dam. But while it was raining a lot, he got worried that this dam is going to be destroyed. But he didn't believe in God or anything. He was just an engineer, you know, sent by the British government. And he was over there doing his work and, you know, making sure the others complete this dam. But this dam was going to be destroyed with so much rain and so much over flooding almost. So he saw that you know, some of his workers was just sitting together, clapping and singing and all that. And so what are they doing? Then he went to them and he saw that there was a little temple, and in that temple there was a deity of. He said, "What is this temple?" He said, "This is our protector, Sita Devi. We pray to her, and she protects us." So he said, "Well, how can you say that, you know, she'll protect you?" And but he said, "No, this." And they were actually doing bhajan, they were doing kirtan, so he didn't understand all this. So all they said, "Okay." He said, if this dam can be saved, and if you can pray like that, then maybe, you know, I can actually I'll be pleased, because, you know, this dam, if it gets destroyed, it'll be a discredit to me, it'll discredit to the British government, and this project will be it'll collapse actually. So these simple devotees, they were Sitaram, they were actually Sitaram bhaktas, you know, and they said, "No, you should pray. You pray from your own heart, and when you pray, and then we will also pray together with you, then we'll see what happens." So he actually opened up his heart, and he really, somehow he had tears in his eyes. I don't know why. He started praying so strongly. He said, if this dam doesn't get sorted and is saved, then I'll kill myself as well, because he was such a position. He was an engineer, and he would be a discredit to him. So what happened is, actually next it kept raining and raining. So he prayed, and others were praying and all that, but he saw that this is not going to be saved. So he wrote a note, and then he said, "I'm just going to commit suicide." He sat on the dam himself, and he was going to die with the dam. If the dam gets collapsed, he said, "I'll just die with it. I'll just finish myself." But when he was standing there, he actually saw an amazing thing happen. Right at the bottom of the dam, where there was a crack appearing, there were two personalities appeared in his vision. One was a very dark, bluish kind of person. The other one was a very fair kind of person. They had a crown on their face, and they were actually the white was passing some mud to the other one, and they were actually packing up this crack. That's the kind of vision he saw. And he said, "What is this? This is amazing." He said, "I've never seen anything like this." So who are they? They're going to actually die if this dam collapses. So he called all his workers, and he started telling them, "Go and save those two guys." They said, Who? We can't see anyone." But he said, no, look, those guys, they're actually trying to repair this dam. Why are they doing that? But they had a crown, they didn't realize. Then the devotees told them, he said, but the dam got saved actually. To this day, the dam is there. And the dam got saved and he actually collapsed actually. And then the workers took him and saved him. And then they said, look, I think you had a darshan of Ram and Lakshman there. They came to try and save your dam. And this engineer then realized what had happened to his life, and he actually gave up British engineering job and all that, and he went into the forest for a while, and he lived in India, and he just turned into a sadhu. He started associating with devotees, and he started singing Sitaram bhajans and all that, you know. It's another story I heard, you know, how he was actually, what is his devotees, Sita, you know, Ram Bhaktas, encouraged him to take on to the path of bhakti, and his dam was saved. You know, this is a true story as well. And he lived in India, and then he was narrating his story to someone who asked him, you know, about what, you know, how come you are a Vaishnav, you're always in Vaishnav clothes, you have tilak on your face, and you go around, you know, amongst the devotees. Well, how come you came to this position in your life? Then he told him, you know, said how he was an engineer, he was building a dam here and everything. And then he actually said one thing that, you know, it's a great misfortune that I didn't take a birth in Bharatvarsh, in India. He said, I'm so unfortunate that I didn't actually take birth. So just trying to say that, you know, we don't know how lucky and fortunate we are to have been given a birth in Bharat. And as Lord Chaitanya said, you know, Bharat bhumita hoile janmaya, janma sarthak kari karo paropkar. So he said, Bharat bhumita janma, he said, those who have taken birth in the land of Bharat, they're so fortunate. You know, sometimes we are so close to Krishna, but we can be so far away. But fortunately now, you know, because of Prabhupada's mercy, ISKCON, so many wonderful things are happening. Sanatana Dharma is upheld, the principles. There's so many wonderful things, you know, so many examples of devotees who've stood up for Sanatana Dharma. And we are fortunate, you know, we are fortunate. Just sometimes we just don't have that strong belief and faith. Okay, so sorry, I went into another pastime. Okay, Navi, Haribol, Hare Krishna to everyone.
So thank you so much, Madhusudan Prabhu. Very nice. Good pastimes. Good pastimes.